Witch Hat Atelier fans, this is Chris Fultz, and I'm coming in with an episode review of this week's episode 4, Meetings and Calm. Now, before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. Now, in the beginning right here, we're getting more of the explanation of the magic system that is used throughout the world of Witch Hat Atelier. We already know that all it takes to become a witch or a magician in this world is you just need to be able to know how to draw. You need to have an understanding of the sigils, the lines, and have a good steady hand for the most part to be able to draw these sigils. But right here at the beginning, they're telling us that there are 4 particular forms of magic, if you will, that are the most important. And just to go ahead and give a quick recap, it's the sigil of water, which is the source of all nourishing force in life. The sigil of earth, which turns sand to stone and allows transformation and movement. Then we have the sigil of Leviathan, which allows men to fly great distances. And lastly, the sigil of flames, which is pretty much their primary form of offense and defense, which is fire. Going here and they're having a good discussion, talking about that. Kiefer's talking about that with Coco. Coco's having some difficulty using his pen to be able to draw the lines. So they decide to go ahead and go to the witch city of Calm. The witch city of Calm is the largest city in the universe that we have met so far, where witches live. And the pen, the way I think about it is, if you guys remember Harry Potter, when Harry Potter went to that wand shop in Diagon Alley in the very first book or the very first movie, depending upon which you've been familiarized with. Hopefully you will be familiarized with both before you watch that HBO movie, but that's a different video for another day. The caretaker there, or the shop proprietor of the wand shop, told Harry Potter that the wand chooses the individual because the wand is more customary to the needs of the individual. I think it's probably going to be the same thing here, where the wand, and by the way, the wand is of different note here in Witch Hat Atelier. The wand consists of the conjuring ink, of the bottle of the conjuring ink, plus the pen. Combine those two together, it becomes your wand, if you will. I think the same thing is going to happen here with Coco, as she is getting a good tour of the city of Calm. Now, the city of Calm, it resides on a sandbar, and it has to reside on the sandbar because these things called the mole worms are a giant enemy of the witches. And then they also have the watchtower there, which helps them go ahead and keep watch over all these mole worms. Now, they're all there to come to this place called the Starry Wood. The Starry Wood, again, is the equivalent of that wand shop inside of Harry Potter. Forgive me, I don't remember a lot of things from Harry Potter. It's been so long since I've read the books. I find a lot of good comparisons between that and this series here, because I think Harry Potter has become such a big positive force in the coming of age stories within a fantasy world that a lot of books and movies and anime and television measures up to that. It actually did become the focal point. That's how much that book has really influenced culture, if you will. So we arrive at this place called the Starry Sword, and this is more of the world building that we're going to be getting right here. The Starry Sword, magic stationer, that's where the witches go to buy their components. So we're going to come in here, we're going to meet some new characters. We're going to meet the shop proprietor right here. That's this guy right here. His name is Nonoa. Everybody knows about Coco because everybody knows Coco was the one to go in there and cast a forbidden magic. Remember, forbidden magic are any type of magic that actually bring harm to another human being. Nonoa gives her a quick tour of the place. We discover how they actually make the conjuring ink. The conjuring ink comes from this tree back here. This tree back here is called the silverwood tree. And when any of its branches die off, then they have to go in there and cut that branch off, because the blackness that comes from the branches is actually poisonous to humans and to the tree. But this is exactly how they come up with the conjuring ink. The silverwood tree is the only place where that conjuring ink actually comes from. And it's a very simple process. You put the branch in this water right here, just plain water, and then you remove the water from the ink, and then what's left behind is a residue that's called the conjuring ink. And that's how you get the conjuring ink. So it's a very simple process. Legend has it that the reason why the silverwood tree is the only place you can get this conjuring ink is because a silverwood tree somehow fell in love with a witch, and the silverwood tree offered up its blood to be ink and its branches to be wands. And that legend has carried forward. Don't know if there's a lot of truth to that or not. Legends sometimes have an element of truth to them. But in this particular instance, that's the reason why only the silverwood tree is able to go in there and give these types of benefits to witches. But all during the while right here, they're doing this in the city of Colin and whatnot. Coco sees the faceless witch, and she goes off and gives chase to him. And the faceless witch has been taunting her. Was featured at the end of the last episode when Coco went to the Dada range, and he said that the seed is starting to sprout. And this faceless witch is trying to goad Coco into following him to this other realm of white. The other girls come along with Coco, Agat, Tetia, and Riche. They all follow Coco. They get transported to this room of white where they confront this dragon, and this dragon is giving chase on them. And this is our first act of tension inside of Witch Hat Atelier. I guess we'll say second. This is our second act of tension. The first act of tension is when Coco's mother is overcome by that crystalline forbidden magic that froze her in place in the first episode. Right here, we have some tension between the girls, primarily Agat and Coco. Agat happens to blame Coco for a lot of things, and yes, a lot of the things that happen are Coco's fault. It is Coco's fault that the forbidden magic led to her mother being encased in crystal. It is Coco's fault that Agat's shoes lost its spell. And right here, it's also going to be Coco's fault that she bumps into Agat as she's drawing this line. But the way Agat attacks her is very unfair. She just begins to load into Coco, and there really is no reason for her to have such a scornful attitude towards Coco, unless she probably sees some of herself, some of Coco in herself. So there's a pretty interesting backstory that I'm looking to see develop between Agat and Coco, to see some of Agat's own backstory as to why she has such intense animosity and feelings towards Coco. Like I said in the last episode, or last review of the last episode, I don't think that Agat hates Coco. I think that Agat is just had a really troubled growing up. Don't want to say childhood, because she still is technically a child. I think she just experienced some trauma in herself that she probably holds herself responsible for, and then there's Coco, who reminds her of that past trauma that she's had. So again, like I said, I think it'd be very interesting to see how Agat develops as this story goes on. And lastly, the episode ends with Kefri questioning Tarta and where his students have gone off. And Tarta here says that they all went chasing after this faceless witch with the faceless mask, and that's where Kefri realizes that it was the brim cap. And I like this upcoming scene right here about the brim caps. This nice black and white motif right here. I like this. This is a really good motif of the brimmed caps. Just this nice black and white drawing of these characters that are the primary antagonists in the world of Witch Hat Atelier. They wear these masks and these caps from a bygone era, probably signaling that they do not buy into the pack. that a lot of the modern day witches had signed off to. These people are probably not above using magic to hurt other people. So I really like this particular scene right here. So overall, this was a pretty good episode. Again, it's more getting us familiarized with the world of Witch Hat Atelier. I knew that Witch Hat Atelier would be a slow burn. It's similar to Frieren. It's not going to be action laden like Black Clover or anything like that. I think this is going to be more in the vein of Frieren, where it's a slow build up, which then towards the end it'll be a really big payoff. So we got some tension here building up between the brimmed caps and what their interest is in Coco, why they're so interested in watching her become savior of magic as the faceless mask or faceless mask. How would you say that? The masked faceless witch or the faceless masked witch, whichever way you want to go with it there. It's been saying about Coco, about her being a savior of magic. So really am interested in seeing where this goes. I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10. It's really growing on me. Like I said, I really enjoyed the slow burn, the slow build up. Next week's episode is going to be called The Dragon's Labyrinth, so there's probably going to be a lot of focus on Coco and the girls inside that white labyrinthine area dealing with that dragon. So very interested in wanting to see that. What did you guys think about this episode? Jump down in the comments and let me know what you guys think, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Fultz signing off, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.